innocence of God. Innocence is the most remarkable essence of truth. Imagine that you would have no concept of anything that is temporary, anything that is not love and peace. That you would have no memory of it, no way of even understanding the possibility of not encompassing the innocence of God. It would be that no thought could even form itself as judgment, as expectations, as knowing of any kind. There would be nothing to seek because you are and have been everything for all eternity. No seeking. If you touch into the energy of seeking, it's temporary. And it can be used by spirit to seek for truth. But the seeking in the world is always seeking and never finding. It's written in stone. Seek and do not find. And when you don't find, you have to have a reason why you didn't find. And it always incorporates the reason being that someone has to be to blame. That you seek and don't find. The seeking is meant to keep you believing that there is something to find, that you will eventually find something. But in truth, there is nothing to find, because everything that is being sought in the world doesn't exist in reality. So you will never find it. What would you be seeking in the world that you would think would be possible? Success, acknowledgement, proving. And those ways are an integral part of the ego's domination. Seek and don't find. In so many ways, just because it's illusion, it really isn't cruel because it doesn't really exist. But the relationship to it is telling you that you are living in a world that is cruel, and that the cruelty is what has to be kept an eye on. And all the while, there is only innocence. There is no cruelty. There is no winning. There is no losing. There is no gaining. And in that innocence is your invitation to realize that there is no scarcity. No scarcity. The world is built on the belief of scarcity. The temporary is built on the belief of scarcity. And it isn't the scarcity that everyone goes to immediately, which is funds, wealth within the monetary identity. The scarcity that's being believed is that there's a scarcity of love. Love is the only energy that is truth. Love is an energy that is being sought as if it was hidden, as if it was scarce. And you believe that there are rules to be worthy of love, that you have to do certain things, you have to behave in certain ways, and you have to prove. There is no scarcity. That is the one of the many, 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 many lies of separation. There is no scarcity. In your innocence, in the perfection. To be scarce would be to be punished. To believe in scarcity and live with scarcity in your belief is to be punished, but it's a self-punishment. There is nothing in the divine that can punish. Punishment is a diploma from the illusion. You can believe that you can be punished because you see the world through a lens of lack, through a lens of self-protection. And every beloved who has touched and tasted God it's not even possible that it would be true, that there would be scarcity, that there would be anything that was not the truth of love, that was not joyful, that was not peaceful. It's not possible. And once you accept, not know, but accept the innocence, the abundance, that love is actually everything. And it is all of you that has been sleeping and is just now possibly coming out of the trance and embracing this divine innocence. You can hear these words, you are everything. You are everything. And you don't have to understand it. But there is nothing that is within your vision. When your vision expands out of the seeing with the eyes and you go beyond and let it open. Everything that you could envision is the light that you are. There is nothing in any way missing or different of your totality. But if you don't believe it, if you don't accept it, it stays hidden. And to accept that you are the innocence of creation, that you are the abundance of God's love, that you are everything. You have to accept it for everything. There can be no exceptions of equality, of union, the union of love. And what is it to enter into that equality, that union, and leave behind the belief in scarcity? You believe that if roles are not held and given credence, you believe that there is a loss if you let go of all the roles that have been taken and given. The roles that you've given yourself, and the roles that have been given to everyone. Everyone. And you're holding this premise of these roles and the inequality, giving everyone differences and special elements. But it is actually in the equality, in the divine union of love, where you actually meet a beloved for the first time. For the first time. You have not known them before. If they had a role, if they had an identity, you haven't met them yet. Because the facade that you're holding to make them different is taking your attention. You believe strongly, everybody has believed this, but you believe strongly that to lose the roles, to lose the identities is to lose. that you will be without. And in truth, you haven't been with anyone because of the belief in these separate identities. You may even believe that through the roles, through the outward relationship, that somehow it's supposed to gel into the fantasy of love that is that you're getting something, and that they do have a specific role and you have a specific role. But it is in the letting go, which will eventually happen for everyone, because it's inevitable that you return home. And to return home is to remember where home is. Home is in the oneness. It's in the truth of union, where there is no one that has a different meaning, has a different purpose. The form is the dazzler. The form wants to dazzle. It's the framework around the truth, the shiny objects. But the shiny objects and the form always leaves you wanting. It's never the fullness that you have prayed for. It's never the all-encompassing oneness. But it's actually there, beyond the role, beyond the identity, beyond a separate purpose, beyond any getting. There is a union of love that is all the purpose of remembering. You're remembering this divine oneness. That when you see someone, when you actually see them, who are they? They are the Divine Mother. They are every angel. They are every saint, every element of reality. They are every drop of water. But they have no roles. They have no identities. Because you can't contain the innocent love of creation. You cannot contain it. You can only contain the illusion, or try to contain the illusion, by applying roles and purposes and differences and likes and dislikes. It's all to make sense of your belief in separation. But it all has to fall away, because it's holding you within a trance of separation. And when you feel the longing for something, that connection, that wanting to come home, when you feel that longing, you're touching a tiniest little bit of the longing. The longing that is really your wanting to remember God has no limits. It encompasses your entire being if you would let it and touch it and meet that longing. And then even that longing disappears because you can't be separate from God. You can't be something else. That's why it's illusion. And you have never yet embraced even the possibility of equality and union. That everything that you have or are, you could give it to anyone, because it would be giving it to yourself. No separation. And in union, you can use these words, there's only one in union, but it's the disappearing. And it's living for the first time. What is disappearing is the facade, the beliefs, the lies, the use of time. And you never, never, ever wonder again if you're okay, if you're right or wrong. It's nothing, it's gone. And this is where peace is. This is where rest is. In your acceptance that there is nothing but love. Only love. Over the mountains of despair, we will rise above. Over the heartache and the pain, upon the wings of love. The healing of our savage heart, gently by the dove, miraculously transforming us upon the wings of love. Terrible mistakes we think we've made, regrets we've undergone. Sometimes the hopelessness makes us forget the sun at dawn. All delight and joyousness, the tender mercies of Jesus, who carries our burdens upon the wings of love, upon the wings of love. We will rise above the mountains of despair by choice. You could have lived here 10,000 lifetimes in despair And in one moment, you can choose no more. No more despair of differences, no more despair of rules, no more despair of roles, no more despair of death. Let it all disappear. I read this the other satsang, and I'm called to read it again. The stars have arrived to say your name. I am, I am, I am, I am the child of God. The stars have taken me to run into the truth of love, to discover the truth, and to be able to be the truth. I climbed mountains of thorns, stepping on sharp points, and the stars told me that in this world everything can be healed. The stars told me, listen in quiet and speak little, to be able to understand and speak with the guides of love that are always with you. The guides of love that bring the medicine of truth to those who are willing to receive it. I'm going to sing one stanza. As estrelas já chegarem para dizer o nome seu. Sou eu, sou eu, sou eu, sou ilumino de Deus. I am the name of God. That is the purpose and the only purpose of being incarnated in this identity. You carry the same identity that you've carried from the moment that you believed you were separate from God. And the only purpose of illusion is because it's believed. It is only believed because you still believe that you are separate. And as you don't want to live in that separation, that you want to remember God, remember and come home to love, accept it, accept the truth of God, and put away all the erroneous ideas of separation. I heard God laughing. Manic screaming. We should all make all spiritual talk simple today. God is trying to sell you something and you don't want to buy. That is what your suffering is. That's all that it is. your fantastic haggling and your manic screaming over the price. The price is your world, your belief system, your habits, your belief of who you are is the haggling. It isn't about hating the illusion. It isn't about despising your life. It's finally coming to the realization that it means nothing. That all the truth of you is not contained in an identity of separation. And you can join the truth of love, rejoin the truth of love. You haven't ever left love. But if you're not aware of love and you're not living as love, then it will seem as if you left love. There's a place in the spiritual journey where you begin to feel bereft. You begin to actually feel being bereft. And that is a sign that the truth is breaking through. Bereft. It's what you carry in your heart in the belief that you are alone, that you are without. But if you surrender that sense of bereft pain, the Holy Spirit will take that sensation, that feeling, that sense of being, and turn it into a longing for truth, a longing to return home, a longing to end this insanity and really trust in the truth of love. First step, trust in the truth of love. We should make all spiritual talk simple today. God is trying to sell you something, but you don't want to buy. This is what your suffering is, your fantastic haggling and your manic screaming over the price. There is no negotiation. Truly, there is no negotiation. There is no haggling. You are not trading one thing for another in order to make a bargain with truth. Truth is true. Ego, temporariness is not true. It doesn't exist in truth. That's not meant to scare anybody. It scares the ego because the ego doesn't want to die. But at the core of your understanding is that your old belief that your payoff was going to be around the next corner, that this time it's whatever I'm doing is going to work. and I'm going to find what I was looking for, but you have never found it. You find things that last for a little tiny bit of time, but you haven't discovered God that you are, the light that you are, the joy that you are, the peace that you are, the perfection that you are. And those are just words until you live them. Live them. God is trying to sell you something, but you don't want to buy. You believe that God is trying to sell you something. Even those words, God is not trying to sell you something. God waits for you to accept the truth of love. But because illusion doesn't exist, God would not try to convince you about truth with an illusion as opposition. There is nothing to convince you of. There is only what is. When you say yes to truth, you say yes to comfort of truth. When you say yes to truth, you say yes to everlasting life, because that's the truth. You say yes to the pure love that you share with everyone and everything. And you rest in that because it's the truth. It's not being manufactured so that it meets any criteria. It's everything that is pure, everything that is innocent, everything that is everything. Enough love. That's not even a concept in the truth. Enough love. Everything that is love. And all you're being asked to do is sink into that divine truth. One day the sun admitted, I am just a shadow. I wish I could show you the infinite incandescence that has cast my brilliant image. I wish I could show you when you are lonely or in darkness, the astonishing light of your own being. It will be shown to you. It isn't being kept hidden. You just have to have the willingness to be that light and let go of the idea that there's anything else. Only love exists. Only love is real. There's a teaching that says, look honestly at what you're afraid of. Only the anticipation will frighten you. But to look honestly at what fear is blocking. What are you believing? Don't be afraid to let the light shine on the lies. The reason that there is something within that's trying to like manipulate what you're afraid to look at. That's the great game of guilt and shame. Guilt and shame says, I believe in wrongdoing. I believe in it. I look for it. I count it. I project it, try to get rid of it by projecting it onto the outside. But you're afraid of what you think you are, and you're afraid to look at what is in the way. Just honestly, imagine that you're praying and you're asking to see what's in the way, that you want to see it so that you can surrender it, forgive yourself for believing that that was ever true. But you want to see what's in the way. And you hear this no, no, no. I don't want to see it. I don't want to. And what are you afraid of? What are you believing in that can hold you in fear so that you won't let go and open and surrender the lies? There has to be trust there. The trust in God to be able to look at anything that you have believed erroneously. There is no judgment in God. Again, these are just words. There is no judgment in God. The power of the universe does not recognize anything that you have thought or done. The power of the universe has no judgment, doesn't see it, it has no meaning, but it holds you in a prison of making, of being made, that you believe in your fear of wrongdoing. You don't even know what you're fearful of seeing, of what you've done, of what it is, but here's what holds it in place. What you do see is judgment. What you do see is opinions. What you do see is giving to get, because that's what the ego runs on. And when you see with judgment, you become terrified of being judged for your judgment. And you believe that your judgment has actually done something, has changed something. Your judgment has no power in the truth of love. It doesn't exist. But it exists in your mind, and it holds you in the fear of looking within. Because you have judged those defense systems. You've judged them in others, and you've judged them in yourself. And to let them go in yourself is to let them go in everyone. So every judgment that you've ever had, every opinion that you've ever had, you cannot hold on to it, because it says no to love. But you can truly let it go, truly be free. And then you will walk in the world in love and have no opinions about anyone or anything, because there's nothing to judge. Every time you think you know, you have to be pulling from the past. You have to be pulling from the past. You have no place else to pull from. So when you know something, it's coming from the past, so it will be like the past. But it's also this little tiny shard of illusion that is so small, that knowing is so small, it doesn't even come to a place of anything, because the illusion can only look through the narrowest view of everything, the most narrow, the most insidiously untrue. When you open to, I don't know, I don't know how to look at this, I have nothing, I have no comment, I have no opinion, I have no judgment, and I don't know. Your heart begins to open in the not knowing, because the knowing is the defense that keeps the heart closed. And until you see that cause and effect, that when you don't know, you're not defending anything. I don't know. What would I know? And how can I learn if I already know? That's what really impedes the learning of truth, is the unwillingness to not know and open to what is reality. Your not knowing, your declaration, I don't know. I don't know who I am. I don't know what this is for. I don't know how to look at this. I don't know what would be most helpful. Show me the way. That is your most magnificent gift to yourself. I don't know. Because it opens the door to actual awareness of reality. Because you're not bringing any of your knowing with you into reality. It can't go. It's made up. So it's put into the bonfire of love and let go. But so what I'm saying is, the not knowing is a doorway, the most powerful place of entry, not knowing. And all that you're asked to do is not know. It's such an exquisite place, because all of the wisdom then can flow through, unbound. I don't know. What are you afraid of in the not knowing? Let that become your question. What are you afraid of in letting go of knowing? And know that every fear that you have, that anybody has, is a protection against truth. That's all that it is. It's a rebellion. It says, I'm going to use this emotion, this feeling, to prove that I'm in danger. But you're not in danger. Fear is a weapon. So to stay in illusion. And the fear is being called to be let go, that it has no value, no truth, no reality. It is the rebellion against God. And it is not who or what you are. Manic screaming. God is trying to sell you something, but you don't want to buy. That is what your suffering is. You're manic screaming over the price because you think you're going to lose something that you made that means something. And what you truly are is waiting to be discovered. It's always there, cannot be lost. It's held for you until you're willing to embrace the perfection, the innocence, the wholeness of love. You can't be missing anything. You can't be missing anything. And it's only your mind that produces fear. It's not the only mind that is producing fear, but that's where all fear comes from, is from the mind. Don't buy its insanity. It isn't your friend. It just says no to God. And you don't want to haggle over the price any longer, because the price is nothing for everything. Only love exists. And it has no resemblance to what is being looked for here. Peace, of wholeness, of innocence, of light. That's your reality.